Optimizing your Google search ads the right way can literally mean scaling your e-commerce brand beyond $100,000, $500,000, even $1 million per month in revenue. And in this video, I want to show you my 5 best Google search ad optimization tips which work regardless of the niche or industry. I mean, these are the 5 tips that I've been using consistently to scale multiple brands to levels like these, where these are all search campaigns for all of the brands we handle combined. In total, just since January 31st, we've generated $2.7 million at a 5.70x ROAS with search campaigns. And this brings me to the first tip, which is keep the ad groups within each of these search campaigns maxed out at 3 to 5 per campaign. Here's what I mean. So if we go inside this search campaign right here, as you can see, there's multiple different search campaigns you can potentially be launching. You could be launching as many as you want. However, normally you want to leave this only to a maximum of 3 to 5, because what happens is if you have too many different search campaign ad groups, and if your budget is maybe only $50 a day or $100 a day, now some of these ad groups are going to get prioritized over others, and it's not because the ones that are doing the best will receive most of the budget. In this situation, the ad groups which contain keywords with the highest search volume are what's going to get majority of the budget. So what happens is you get things which are left untested, which is obviously not a good strategy. Same thing for the keywords, by the way. You don't want to have tens and hundreds of different keywords. Ideally, you can have maybe about 5 to 10 different individual keywords if you're trying to target them directly. In this situation, this is a DSA campaign, meaning a dynamic search campaign. So instead of targeting keywords, we have targeted certain categories of products this brand sells. But this now brings me to tip number 2, which is use the search term data you're getting from these search campaigns to make your product feed better. So the beauty about search campaigns is these campaigns throw you a lot of different search terms depending on how much you're spending every single day, but it can be tens and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of different search terms. And if you go onto the keyword planner tool, most often than not, you will not even be able to find these search terms coming up. And as your search campaign spends money, it now goes after newer search keywords. The algorithm is consistently spending your budget trying to rank for every new potential keyword that's getting searched out in the market. And this is very beneficial for your campaigns because this leaves you with a lot of new data that you can now use to make things better in the back end. But it's only useful if you optimize things in the back end, including things like the product feed, product titles, descriptions, Google Merchant Center, so on and so forth. We'll just try to keep on using these within the backend. Every 15 to every 30 days, we'll go through this list and try to optimize so that we supply all of the other campaigns even better data from what they already have. This is kind of the main approach we take for all of the brands and all of the campaigns you see right here, which are doing extremely well. But if you run a brand doing $1 million a year and you want to scale to the next level with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But this now brings us to tip number 3, which is implement negative keywords based on the phrase match approach. Now, if we go back to just all the search campaigns right here, and we only look at the specific search campaigns coming up. So if we just type in campaign type and then from here choose search, what I want to show you is within the negative keyword section, the way we approach things. So if we go right here within this dynamic search campaign, go on over to negative keywords. Now we already have a negative keyword list for this search campaign, this dynamic search. However, if you want to add negative keywords, here's what you want to do. Instead of adding a negative keyword based on any type of match type that's way too broad, like for example, directly broad match, where if you're trying to sell 3D printers, then you write the keyword without any quotation marks, without any brackets, just itself the keyword as what it is within the negative keyword list. This is called broad match, and this means anything and everything beyond that's even closely resembling this keyword will be completely added to the negative keyword list. You will never show up for this, including keywords like buy 3D printer or 3D printer for sale or any other keyword type, which is not necessarily a good thing, because if you do sell 3D printers and you want to rank for 3D printers themselves, then obviously some of the keywords might be good, but you don't want to just get rid of all of them with broad match negative exclusion. On the other hand, some e-commerce brands, what they do is they go way too exact and they'll add exact match negative keywords where it's these brackets around this, which means when somebody types in exactly this way, 3D printer, then the ads will not show up for this keyword. Well, this is also a bad thing because, like I told you earlier, you'll probably end up ranking for tens and hundreds and thousands of keywords. And this is going to be way too time consuming to go one by one through the list, add each negative keyword to the list as exact match keyword. So the better and more ideal approach, in my opinion, is to add these keywords, which whatever you want, with phrase match, intent types, meaning quotation marks. So the way it works is fairly simple. If you want to maybe not rank for any keyword which includes the word printer, maybe because you only want to rank for the word 3D, in this situation you would add printer as a word within quotation marks, and anything and everything around printer itself, that's what will end up getting excluded from any future search terms, and your ads will never show up for anything related to the keyword itself, which is printer. So if somebody types in 3D printer, you won't show up, but if somebody types in 3D printing, then your ad will show up there. There's a very slight difference here between broad match and phrase match, but phrase match is kind of the middle barrier between exact match, which is too narrow, and broad match, which is way too broad. And this brings us to the fourth tip on the list, which is implement smart bidding based search campaigns. Now, going back to the campaigns level and just looking at all of the different campaigns which we are running, which are search campaigns right here, you can see majority of these, almost all of these, are smart bidding based search campaigns. And that's because smart bidding based search campaigns work the best. Most e-commerce brands, what they do is they launch a search campaign that's based on manual bidding, but it's with random bids. Maybe the bid is what they saw in the keyword planner tool. Maybe they just felt like doing this bid, whatever they have said. And this is an arbitrary number, which is going to lead to bad data coming into your ad account. So you would rather go with a smart bidding based approach, which is ideal only after you have some data, by the way. This is why you should run shopping campaigns first before you start really expanding into search. But search campaigns work the best with smart bidding, and you don't want to just run a search campaign that's without any restrictions, because that is when things become a bit too risky. Even for the search campaigns which are like branded search campaigns, which are smart bidding based, we always set target ROAS restrictions. It's not like a performance match campaign where you can set it without a target ROAS and it's gonna just run and find you the right audience. A lot of the times it will end up getting messed up and it will show for the wrong audience type. So to prevent that, to stop it from being way too risky, you want to set a target ROAS that's ideal, that's something your account has already achieved before. If it's been on average running at a 2x ROAS or a 3x ROAS within the last 14 or 30 days, maybe that's the range you want to set this ROAS at for the search campaign. But this brings us to the fifth and most important tip of all, which is to run warm and hot traffic audience signals within your search campaigns. Now, if we go on to the audiences section right here, we can see what I mean exactly. So this campaign right here, this is the dynamic search campaign I showed earlier. It's running everything based on either customer list, or it's based on an in-market segment or a custom combination segment. Now, when this campaign just started, when it was just new and not really getting a lot of data, it had none of this affinity segment and none of these in-market segment audiences going on. And that's because these are way too cold. In the beginning, if you don't have a lot of data, or if you're not getting too many results with Google search campaigns, you want to go after retargeting types of audiences, something like a customer list or something like website visitors, or just something which is based on real data you already gotten in the back end. Because if you now apply just random lists, or if you just go after random audience segments, it's gonna become way too difficult for this campaign to find the right ideal audience for your brand. And as a result, the algorithm will go crazy and it will spend all of your budget inefficiently. So if you want to prevent that, you need to add audience lists, at least in the beginning, which are more on the hot and warm traffic side. And then once those are starting to get you some scale, once those are stable, then you start adding in-market and affinity and so on and so forth. That's when you start testing a bit more things, but never do that in the beginning. But these are the same 5 things we're using to scale e-commerce brands past 100,000, 500,000, even $1 million a month with Google Ads alone. Which, by the way, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year and you want to scale to multi-7 figures with Google Ads, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and schedule a free call with me to see essentially how we can work together and make that happen. But check out this case study I did right here of a brand which we scaled to multi-7 figures, almost $10 million with search campaigns that follow these 5 tips.